How's it going, guys, and welcome to another video here by yours truly, Axel Williams. Guys, welcome back. Today, guys, we're talking about a classic opinion, an absolute classic movie, arguably one of the greatest movies of all time. Yes, guys, we're talking about Heart's Opinion. I don't know what they're saying, but it's just so cool, isn't it? It's so cool. Yes, guys, none other than The Lion King. Yes, well, I remember when I watched this film. I remember when I watched this film for the first time, and I just remember being absolutely blown away by just how great it is in every aspect. The characters, the soundtrack, the scenes. I mean, we'll get to some of the scenes. We'll get to some of the scenes and the emotional scenes within The Lion King. But what a film! What a movie! What just a legendary, historic film. And then they went and spoiled it all by doing something stupid like Simba's Pride, The Lion King 2. That is absolutely rubbish. Why have they done that? Why have they made Lion King 2 Simba's Pride? Why would you do that to us? We have never done anything to you, but you feel it necessary to bring out Simba's Pride, Lion King 2. But yes, guys, The Lion King, what a film. Simba, of course, he's basically next in line to be king, isn't he, of Pride Rock. King of the Pride Lands. And let's be honest, everything about the movie is fantastic, but we're going to start off by talking about the characters, guys. We're going to talk about Simba, Mufasa, Scar, Zazu, Timon, Pumbaa, Nala, Rafiki. God, I just called you God? God?
Bruh.
You are gods in my eyes, you are gods, but, you know, I meant guys. Guys, look, The Lion King, for me, it's got action, it's got emotion. Spoilers, obviously, spoilers. I've been warned to do this. You know, cut a long story short, Scar kills Mufasa and banishes Simba in order to become king. And the movie is so fantastic. You probably all know it. You've all seen it. It's fantastic. It's a movie that will live on forever. We're going to, you know, the characters like Scar, Mufasa, played by James Earl Jones. You know, Jeremy Irons, who plays Scar. Just fantastic voice casting. The soundtrack for the movie, which I'll come to in a little bit, is fantastic. But for me, it's just the overall story of the film. The overall story of the film, for me, is what makes this film so good. And the fact that you have little songs in between each of the scenes. You know, you've got I just can't wait to be king. Do-do-do-do. I just can't wait to be king. You know, you've got that. You've got, no, that's Jungle Book. You know, it's everything about the movie is fantastic. We'll come on as well to the remake, the CGI remake that they've released quite recently, of course, of The Lion King as well. And I'll give you my thoughts on that and my actual take on that. I'm looking forward to that because it's going to get the right slagging off. The best thing about The Lion King is most certainly Timon and Pumbaa. Timon and Pumbaa are the life and soul. For me, they are the energy and they're the best two characters in the movie, aren't they? Timon and Pumbaa. And the best thing is they're best friends, but they're not actually particularly the same. I always found Timon to be the more reasonable one of the two, the more safe one out of the two, the less stupid one out of the two, if you know, if we're going to dive into it. But you know, for me, those two are such unbelievable characters. Unbelievable characters. I love Timon and Pumbaa. What I always found funny about Scar was the fact that he's got a scar on his face. I'd be quite interested to know where he got that from, actually. I'd be quite interested to know where Scar got his scar from. And the best thing is, was he born with that scar? Did his lion parent decide to call him Scar at birth? Has he always been called Scar? Because if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think it's a bit offensive for the fact that he is actually called Scar. I think that's actually a bit nasty, isn't it? I mean, let's say for argument's sake, he's been called Scar his whole life. That's not very nice, is it, really? I mean, I wouldn't want to be called Four Eyes for the rest of my life, or, you know, Specky. I mean, I don't know, it's just... If I had a scar on my face, I'd probably be a bit offended that everyone kept calling me Scar. And I mentioned it at the start of the video, didn't I? I've talked about, obviously, how good the original one is, and the soundtrack, and the characters. Just everything about the film is fantastic. Thought I just heard something. But the second one, there's drilling going on outside, so I do apologise, guys, if the audio gets... just pick that up. I'm just going to tell them to shut the F up. But yes, you know, The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride seemed like a pointless sequel, didn't it, really? It's one of those movies that the original one does really well, and they think to themselves, we'll make a second one. It's one of those typical things that every filmmaker does, every film creator does. They seek success from the first one, sorry, they see the success from the first one, and then they decide to make a second one. But Lion King's one of those movies that doesn't have any right to have a sequel, because you can't recreate just how good that first one was. You know, it was just a really, really pointless film. He's still drilling, or sawing. Sawing will be the one. I've told him to shut up, but he won't listen. And then we've got the CGI remake, and the CGI remake for me was just dead. I don't know if you've ever watched that film, but it was so dead. The way the characters spoke, James Earl Jones sounded like he wasn't even being paid for the role. He just literally like, well, if you're not going to pay me, I can't be bothered. He just literally spoke as though he was just desperate to go to sleep, have a couple of hours kip, because it was soulless. The whole movie was soulless. Obviously, Jeremy Irons didn't do the voice for Scar in the CGI remake. But I just felt the fact that, like, this is the thing for me. The Lion King, the original, is an impossible film to actually redo. You know, it's an impossible film to remake, so why even try? If you're going to actually, and if you are going to do it, if you are going to actually bring it more to life, say, with you know, with all these special effects we've got today in CGI, at least change the dialogue completely. Make your own film. This is what I always say, because this is the thing. When I watched that film, I knew straight away that they were just going to repeat every sentence of dialogue from the original film. I knew that was going to happen before watching it. I knew they were going to copy each and every sentence from the original, and they did. Virtually every, there was like one or two scenes that were a bit different, one or two, you know, scenes of dialogue that were a bit different, but for 95% of the film, the dialogue was exactly the same, the scenes felt exactly the same, but the only thing is, it's predetermined with what, you know what they're going to say now. You knew at the start of the film what they're going to say, you know, through the middle and through the end, what's going to be said throughout the film, because they're just basically copying the script from the original. So then it feels dead, it feels lifeless, it feels like it's just almost like a stage play. It didn't feel good. The film was just very, very, I'm not going to lie, the CGI was absolutely fantastic. The CGI was absolutely mind-blowing. It was probably one of the most amazing CGI movies I've ever seen in my whole life, if I'm being honest. You know, it was, the effort that went into all that, absolutely fantastic. You know, the hairs on the animals and stuff like that, just the way they sit and blow in the wind and all this. You know, the little crinkles on their skin, the face, fantastic. Fantastic. And if movies were based purely on how good CGI looks, that movie would have won every award, because it was absolutely breathtaking. But the movie itself was dog sugar. I'm not going to say dog you know, because I don't swear that often. But, you know, it was just poor. It was just really, really poor. A lifeless film, a soulless movie, and I've said that, I'll keep using that word, soulless and lifeless, but it's true. The Lion King remake was each and every bit of that. But yes, The Lion King, the original, absolutely brilliant. Guys, is it one of the greatest movies ever? I mean, it's certainly, is it the best animated movie ever? You know, slash cartoon. I know obviously people look at Toy Story as probably one of the best animated movies ever, if not the best animated movie. There's so many now as well, Inside Out. You know, Moana, which I actually have seen the trailer to, that they're doing a CGI remake to that as well, like a real life one, if you know what I mean. I think Dwayne Johnson's actually going to be in that, so that should be interesting. But you know, there's so many good animated films and cartoon films over the years. There's loads, isn't there? You know, The Fox and the Hound. I could name loads of, you know, if I was to think about it, but off the top of my head, I'm struggling for some reason. But for me, The Lion King is probably the best animated slash cartoon film I've ever seen. It is. I think it's just that it's got good action, it's emotional, it's a sad movie. Every single person would have cried when Mufasa died, and that's probably one of the most iconic scenes in any movie in history. Mufasa's death, when Scar says "Long live the king" and chucks him, flings him off the edge of the cliff. Iconic. That's what an iconic scene that is, and that scene for me, I can't actually help it. I've seen that movie 100 times, but I still get emotional inside. I still feel that lump in my throat whenever I see Simba trying to wake his dad up when he's lying there lifeless at the bottom of the hill. That part always got to me. Always made, you know, makes your heartstrings feel a bit like they're being tugged at. But it's a great movie, The Lion King. You know, like I said, soundtrack, characters, everything about it is absolutely fantastic. But yes, guys, what's your thoughts? Is The Lion King for you the best animated film ever? The best animated slash cartoon film ever? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of the remake? And what did you think of The Lion King sequels? You know, Simba's Pride and these other ones that they've got. I haven't even bothered really caring too much for them. But if you've seen them, let me know. I'll be very much intrigued to know exactly what your thoughts are on them. Guys, thanks ever so much for watching this video. The Lion King, one of the greatest movies of all time in my view. Have your say, like I said, in the comments. Subscribe and like, and I will see you for another video very shortly. Guys, thank you ever so much. I'll see you soon.